Hey guys, how are we doing? Hope you've had a good weekend with the families or doing whatever you've been doing. If you're nursing a hangover, I've got no sympathy for you. All right, listen, so I've got a challenge that I want to set you, and the challenge and the reason for the challenge is to try and improve your life a little bit, okay, and try and get you motivated to get started to improve in your life, get you motivated to maybe start seeing how things could be done better, and get you motivated to really start overcoming the overwhelm and the frustration and stress and the chaos that life obviously brings for all of you. So I think too many people also try to jump like head on into change, trying to take on too much too soon. And it's really about progression, little stepping stones to success, lots of small wins that take you forwards and move you forwards when it comes to your lifestyle, your health, your fitness, your mindset, your dad skills, all of that stuff. So what I wanted to focus on really with this task is concentrating on just a couple of small wins to build up during the week. Now, you're not going to achieve where you want to be in 1 week. It's impossible to even think that you could do that. So like I just said, small wins, stepping stones. So I think that the task that I'm going to give you is a good practice for you to do that. Is to make you think a little bit more about improving yourself and the habits and the routines and the structure that you put together. Make you think a little bit more about yourself and prioritizing yourself a little bit more. All right, so let's go into this challenge. So the challenge is from tomorrow for 7 days, and obviously not just doing 7 days and stopping, but for 7 days, I want us to focus on between 1 and 3 small wins. So any of these wins could be anything, which we'll go into in a minute. So if you can find between 1 and 3 wins, you're either going to have 7, 14 or 21 wins achieved by the end of the week. Now, if you think at the week just gone, how many small wins did you have within that period? So realistically, you might have 2, you might have 4, you might have had 5, it might have been a frustrating week. Maybe you're nurturing a hangover because you didn't have a very good week and you just wanted to drink and forget about it. But this week's going to be different because you're going to focus purely on you and finding those small wins consistently, consistent being the key word. You're going to be disciplined and make sure that you meet them. When it comes to you choosing these wins, I want you to think about the 4. I want you to think about the 4 models that I talk about in my book, which pretty much for me are the circular of life: business, health, relationships, personal development. They kind of cover every chapter of your life as you're going along through it. So if you can find between 1 and 3 wins a day, capturing any one of those sort of 4 quarters of your life. So let me give you an example. A win tomorrow may be getting up 15 minutes earlier, doing a mobility set, then listening to a podcast. 2 small wins. And you can achieve those small wins before you even leave the door. And how much better would that make you feel? Okay? And it's not going to suddenly make you lose 2 or 3 stone straight away, but it's going to start getting you into positive habits. And positive habits are contagious, because suddenly when you start having 1 or 2 wins a day, suddenly the next week you want more. And to lose that 2 or 3 stone, we have to initiate some form of habit, routine and structure, so that we're not getting distracted from the stress, the chaos of life, the overwhelm of life, and we're not prioritizing ourselves. So by you doing this small task, like I just said, a couple of good examples there are you focusing on maybe some mobility in the morning, maybe a podcast on the way to work, or in the morning and sitting just on the sofa by yourself listening to a podcast. Okay, next day you might think about maybe prepping your lunch for the next day rather than buying a meal deal from McDonald's or Tesco's or something like that. You might dedicate 20 minutes. That's a big win. You might set a date night with your partner, which you haven't done in ages. It's a big win. You might send that email at work that you've been meaning to send to ask about promotion. Or you might go up and tell the negative fuckwit that he's an idiot. If that's a win for you. All right, it's about building up lots of milestones. You know, when people are in prison or they're stranded somewhere, what they end up doing is putting those little marks on the door, so how many days have been there, so little streaks, and suddenly you see them all over the wall, and there's lots of 1, 2, 3, 4 / 5 days. This is very similar to you building up your wins and your life. So you start right now. So tomorrow, bang, 2 stripes, 2 wins. Then on Tuesday, you might have 3 wins. 1, 2, 3, bang, swipe them off. Then Wednesday, you might just have 1 win, swipe it off. But the idea is that you can have a maximum for 7 days, 21 wins, as long as my maths is correct. It'll be interesting to find out how many wins you'll achieve by this time next week. And if you remember this, and if you follow this chart, I want you to inbox me every single night as accountability at 7:30 in the evening what your small wins were. Just simply put, today's small wins, either 1, listen to a podcast, or 1, 2, 3, date night, workout, and podcast. But they are things that you don't do consistently. They are things that you keep ignoring. And then at the end of this week, guess what? You can maybe hit 19 wins. You're going to want more next week. But you're maybe going to start exercising instead of a mobility. And it might be just a 10-minute set. But in 6 months, it might be a 35-minute set. In 1 year, it might be 5 sets of 45-second reps. And you might be 2 or 3 stone lighter. You've got to understand that this is a process. It's not something that suddenly comes overnight. It's about learning to adapt to a new environment, to a new skill, to a new habit, to a new routine, to a new structure. And we have to think about this for the next 365. So my Brotherhood program, which is a fitness, mindset, and nutrition. Jesse, come here! Mindset program that's designed for dads to be a much better version of themselves, to keep them structured, to keep them disciplined, to keep them consistent, to keep them focused, to keep them inspired, to give them their workouts, to give them their nutrition with recipes, to teach them how to have better routines and structures, all right? And I'm just giving you a very small part of that. And if you're willing to do it, make sure that you inbox me at 7:30 every night. Make sure that you commit to yourself, because it's not that you don't have time, it's just that you don't prioritize yourself, okay? And that's a lot harder to take than saying, I don't have time. Instead of saying you don't have time, turn around and say, I don't prioritize myself enough. Fucking see how that feels. It's not a nice thing to say, all right? And it's very difficult to say. It's very difficult to come to terms with it. It'll probably trigger you maybe. Be like, fuck you, who do you think you are? I don't prioritize myself. But I'm just speaking the truth. I'm speaking from my own experiences when I didn't prioritize myself and I'd come up with some bullshit excuse. Okay, oh, it's a bit rainy, I've had a shit day. Fucking, we have to come off that self-pity train, and we have to start thinking about achieving above and beyond. So just to summarize, a 7-day challenge for you, starting from tomorrow. I want you to create no less than between 1 and 3 wins a day in the terms of health, business, personal development, and relationships. So I don't want you to create one for each one. Just overall, you have to include one of those quarters. So you might just do a health one tomorrow. You might just do a business one the next day, whatever it might be. Okay? And then I want you to drop me a message, 7:30 every single night, telling me what you did. Okay? And you're going to start experiencing something you haven't in a while, and that's probably achievement. That's probably being proud of yourself. Doesn't matter how fucking small the win is. It's about grasping one step at a time, because this time next year you could be 2 to 3 stone lighter, in complete control of your life. Have structure, have routines, have purpose, have fulfillment, have vision about where your life's going. All right, guys? So, thanks, Lee. Thanks, guys. Get to it. I want to know if you're in. Make sure that you comment me. Make sure that you message me as soon as you've watched this, if you've got all the way through, and tell me that you're in. And then make sure that you inbox me and back yourself up. It's not for me. This is your life. You should give a shit more about your life than I do about your life. I'm here to help. I'm here to kick you up the backside. Let's get to it. Have a great evening. Let's get to it. Let's have a strong week. You've got a possibility for this challenge of 21 brand new wins. Let's go.